Hey, so I have some exciting news because it's been 6 months. I know it's been 6 months because the other night I got on to the channel and looked, and it has been 6 months since I posted the video saying that I broke the Samurai. So I finally have the transfer case sitting right there. It is rebuilt. It was rebuilt properly. My samurai guru that I mention every now and then in the videos, he rebuilt it for me. It took 3 months because he ordered stuff from Zooks Off-Road, ZOR. If you have a samurai, check them out. They have some awesome stuff. In fact, they've got stuff that I'm going to buy for this. My little Suzuki emblem light bar light or holder that I bought that I still haven't installed yet, that I welded together. I got those from ZOR. And so I am excited. Dad and I are about to move this over here to the middle of the shop because there's a big mess of oil underneath there from when we swapped the motor in his pickup. But I'm so excited to get this in there, get it going, get it in there with that. And then once I get this done, which it won't take us, it took us like 20 minutes to get that out. And then after getting that done, I have compiled my stock of parts. Like that's the intake for the 4.3 V6 that we're going to put in the Samurai. So I'm gonna get it all together with the transfer case back in it, like so that we can go wheeling in it. And then I'm going to, in that meantime, I'm going to work on getting that truck fully disassembled again, or not again, but get the motor out of it, get the body off of it. We're gonna put a 52 Chevrolet pickup on that chassis. It's an all-wheel drive chassis. Got to reuse the 4060E that's in it. Dad's 52 Chevrolet is going to go on that. The 4.3 that is in that truck is going to go into Sami. Along with, we're not sure. I'm talking about maybe using a 2-speed power glide, which is very old school, like extremely old school. That's 60s model transmission, but they're solid, they're strong transmissions. Thoughts are because of the size of a power glide, they're much smaller. I've also got some short tail shaft turbo 350 that I may put in it too. Depends. I got to mock it up with both, but the main thing is that I want the transfer case because I'm going to reuse this transfer case that we just had rebuilt. Since it's a divorced transfer case, we'll just have this little drive shaft, which is right here. This little drive shaft goes in between the 5-speed and the transfer case. So I will, when we have whichever automatic in there, I will have a drive shaft made that'll go that distance. But the main thing is I want the factory transfer case to be in the stock location. Since this has been down the last 6 months, made a whole lot of decisions and different plans for this. The 4.3 has been a plan for a while. I've been stockpiling parts for it. I finally got everything. I've got the distributor, I've got the intake. That's a running motor. It's gonna pull it out, check it out really good. It runs great. I've driven that truck around the block a couple times. Like it runs really good. Pull that motor out of that, put it on the stand, clean it up, see if I may replace gaskets on it, just if it looks like stuff need it. I haven't decided what color to paint it. I'm half thinking about painting it Chevrolet orange, because why not? It's a Chevy motor. But I've also thought about painting it blue. Use the Smurf as blue. I don't call it the Smurf much anymore, but I'm very excited about this. And I've also, because I'm on multiple Facebook groups for samurais, I come across a gentleman that's in Canada, and he cut his frame, extended his wheelbase 18 inches for a total of 98 inches. This is wheelbase. I think stock is right around 79 or 80. and he cut his body. You can buy the long wheelbase quarter panels. They look cool. That's a whole lot of work. What he did is he basically built a bed for his, and still used. And in fact, he cut a short wheelbase hardtop and extended it, and it turned out looking really nice. And he has a back seat back there, and it would be phenomenal. I love this thing, but some more room in the back for Liam would be awesome. Which more room for him would mean more room for us in the front as well. Give him, and then we'd have room for stuff to go in there. But so that's the plan. Is I'm going to dissect this thing after we get it going again. It's going to come back apart, and then we're going to chop it up and extend it and do all this other stuff. But first, the whole extending the body and the frame, all that will happen after we get the V6 in it, and it's running and driving with that. That'll be another project to extend the wheelbase. But so Dad and I are going to get this thing moved over to where we have a little bit more room to work under it, and I've got to clean up the mess that's under it. So I'll get a camera set up and we'll get to work. So got the transfer case stabbed. I've just got a couple more bolts to put in the drive shaft and hook up the propane feed line to the regulator, and she'll be ready to go. I am extremely excited because today I was goofing around on Facebook, and on the Crossbar Ranch Facebook page where we go riding it, there was a gentleman who posted where he's planning an event for late spring, early summer for off-roading, and he's already set up and been organizing a drag and drive event that is similar to like Drag Week and Rocky Mountain Race Week and the other events that are like that, but it's centrally here in Oklahoma. So his plans are to set it up to where there's 3 ORV parks, or off-road vehicle parks, and it's going to be a 300-mile trip in 3 days. So you have to drive your off-road rig. It has to be street legal and everything because we'll be driving to the next park. And I'm excited about this because I want to take this. It is street legal. It is tagged and insured. I've not been driving it on the road because it's so low geared. So I'm super stoked about it. I've sent it to Chuck. I've got to talk Chuck into doing this, and so it's probably late May, early June maybe. And so he had the post didn't have a specific date. They're still organizing it, but they're calling it the King of Off-Road, and so I think it's going to be fun. Like there's Twin Mountains Off-Road Park, which I had not heard of, which is here in Oklahoma, and then Gruber, which is somewhere we went this last year and went riding. It's up in the northeastern corner. I need to look up and see exactly where on the map where the Twin Mountains is. Like, I looked it up on YouTube and saw some videos from there, and it looks like a nice place. It's woods and stuff, and very similar to Crossbar and to the Gruber off-roading park. So I'm pretty stoked about that. It's gonna kind of suck driving to the in between because 45-50 mile an hour is max on this thing, and so I need to decide if I want to try to get that motor swap done before we go and do this and take it basically untested, or I could leave the 4-cylinder 5-speed in it for a little bit longer so that we can make sure that we are able to get there, and that would give me more time to work out some bugs with the way it's set up now. To where before I was going to be like, if I do the motor swap, there's still some things that I need to address that aren't major, but before driving 300 miles, I would definitely want to get lined out. So this, I think it's gonna be awesome. I think it'll be really fun, and they're gonna give. They said something about tokens for each place you've got to go and do. And they're going to have varying trail ratings, like green, yellow, and red. They said the yellow will be basically like 33-inch tires, lifted, whatnot, and the green will be stock vehicles, stuff like that. And they said that the post said that the side-by-sides are also, welcome, because in Oklahoma you can tag and legally drive a side-by-side. So, it doesn't have to be something like this that was originally a on-road vehicle. So you can even but it's gonna be. It sounds really cool, and I'm really excited about it. I haven't called Chuck yet. I sent him the post, and he's been at work, so I haven't talked to him yet about it. So, but I'm super excited. It'll be cool when get more information about when they're doing it and everything. And I'm sure it'll be sticking to 2-lane highways. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. 300-mile road trip in this thing. Chuck and I've been talking to Chuck. We've been wanting to do the power tour with our classics, with like my C10, and he's been wanting to get his 70 Beetle put back together, and we've talked about going and doing the power tour. But then I got to looking at it and pricing everything, and the power, it's expensive to do the power tour. The packages, like you can get into it and do it on the cheaper side, but it's still like to do the full week and to do everything, it could easily be $2,500. And and that's not counting the fuel and everything to get wherever it's at that year. So we've talked about doing our own little, because being here in Oklahoma, Route 66 runs right through the middle of the state, and it's not too far from where Chuck lives right now. So we've talked about a group of us in the family getting our classics together, our shit boxes, and running down Route 66 for a ways and doing a road trip like that. But we just still, none of us have our stuff together well enough to where we could go do that. But I think this will be a lot of fun, and better believe if we do it, it's going to be recorded, it's going to be on the channel, and I think it'll be some good content. I think it'll be fun, between the wheeling and then just the road trip itself. Chuck and I, we always have a good time together, no matter what we're doing. So keep an eye out for that. When I find out more information on it, I will definitely talk more about it. But I'm going to jump over here, put the last few touch-ups on this thing, and get it out of the shop. And then I'm going to try to clean the shop, because it's pretty bad in here. I've been talking about it for so long. Maybe eventually I'll finally get it cleaned. Stay tuned. Will I or will I not get the shop clean? But thank y'all for watching. Try to get some video of me working on this thing before we wrap this up. Alright. That's the buttoned up. We're about to test it and see if it'll actually move back and forth. That is awesome. It's been 6 months. It's been 6 months since it moved under its own power, and so that's awesome right there. That is great. I've discovered a few leaks that I've got a coolant leak or a couple coolant leaks actually, that I probably didn't get the hoses tight enough when I replaced the hoses in the one video. I didn't even realize they were leaking. So you get those tightened up, and I'm gonna drain the diffs in the axles and change the gear oil on that. The one knuckle started leaking on the passenger side. I figured out why it was leaking, because in the one video where I was taking the transfer case out, realized that the the 4 bolts that hold the bolt on the bottom of it have come loose. So I got to get that tightened up, and when it was leaking there, I saw some water come out of it. So get all that cleared out. Like I said, I want to get this thing finished up and decide in what shape it's going to be when we take it to go do that 300-mile road trip. So I think the V6 Auto would be a lot of fun, and I think it would do really well. Like I said, it's still going to be on propane, but I think the automatic will help give it a little taller gear, because if I use the Power Glide, the high gear on that, they're pretty, it would, I think it would help balance out, and then I would just run it in low while I'm on the trails. But the problem with all that would be it'd be more than likely untested, unless I could manage to knock it out in a week or a weekend doing the motor swap, which is definitely doable. It's very doable. I've got most of everything I need. I just got to get the motor out of the other truck, and then I've got to pull the transmission out of Dad's 80 model Camaro. He's putting a Turbo 350 in it after having a Power Glide in it for like 15 years. So that's where I'm getting my Power Glide transmission from. And mostly, like I said, mostly going to use that because it's so much smaller. The tunnel in this is so tiny and there's not a lot of room anyway. So using the small Power Glide, I hopefully won't have to modify the tunnel as much and get into the legroom. So it can be done. I've just got a lot of shuffling parts around so that I can have the stuff that I need to do for this. I got to get this project so far along so that I can have the parts to do this and that. And I've also decided to put a 5-speed in the C10. The 5-speed that came out of the red S10, NV 3500, I believe is what the designation for the transmission is. Had a guy that was going to buy it. He backed out of buying it, and I've been wanting to put an overdrive transmission in that truck, and I'm like, I've got one with this 5-speed, so that 5-speed will wind up going in the C10. So that's going to be another project too, because it'll be hydraulic. I pulled all the hydraulic stuff off of the S10 before I scrapped it, because the guy was I was going to hook him up because he was converted in his automatic S10 to a 5-speed that he had an LS in, and he was going to drive a ways to come get it. Backed out. He wound up changing his plans for his project, and so I still have the 5-speed, and I was going to list it for sale, and I'm like, you know what? I think that'd be fun behind that 327. The 327 is pretty salty. I'm not saying I'm out winning drag races with it or anything, but it runs great. And it's very old school, so I think the 5-speed will be cool. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. Pull this outside, put the doors back on it, and maybe spin it around the block, because it's been so long since I drove it. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you soon.